Come with me to a magical place where being labeled the pork queen is a compliment, where being nice is just a way of life, and where all leaders of the free world must pass through. Welcome to Iowa. Whether you're a current Iowan, an Iowa expat, or an Iowan at heart, this show is for you. This is the Iowa Podcast. Real Iowans, real talk, no drama. From the Brady Dental Care Studio, I'm Justin Brady, and it's fall, so of course we have to talk about pumpkins here in Iowa. And to do that, I've invited Blair Lawton, Executive Director of the Anamosa Chamber of Commerce, to talk about Pumpkinfest in Anamosa. Thanks for coming on the show, Blair.
Thanks for having me, Justin. I appreciate it.
So it is, I have a lot of pumpkin questions.
Bring it on.
No, this will be really fun. So no, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming on the show. First of all, what I need to know is there's a special year that you guys are celebrating, right? Can you tell me a little bit about that? And before you do, I just want to remind everybody, if you like Iowa content, make sure to subscribe to the show. The Iowa Podcast is available on Spotify. It's available on Apple Podcasts. It's on iHeart. It's technically on Google Podcasts right now, but in case you missed the notification, Google Podcast will be dying. They're closing that and rolling it into YouTube or something. But back to you, Blair. What's the special day? Well, this is a special year, I think.
We are celebrating, Justin. It's the 30th anniversary of Anamosa being named the pumpkin capital of Iowa by the state legislature. So that is a big number for us. This will be technically the 34th year of the giant weighoff, but 30 years since we've been recognized as the capital of Iowa.
That's awesome. Yeah. So 30, what does that even mean? The Anamosa being named the pumpkin capital by the Iowa state legislature. Do you get any special privileges with that?
That is a great question. It's definitely a good thing that we can bring up when we're talking to the media, for sure. It's always a good selling point that we can use throughout the year to kind of keep that constant drumbeat, keep that excitement going. If you actually come down our main street, you'll see some of like the welcome to Anamosa flags. Several of them actually do mention it being the pumpkin capital of Iowa. So
nice.
For me, it feels like, it's great with a small community where you can see that there is something thriving, that there has been an event that's getting bigger and better every year. And it's great to see that, when people think of giant pumpkins, they're thinking of Anamosa.
Yes. We're going to talk a lot about it because it's actually a pretty big event. I'd never heard of Pumpkinfest, sadly. And as I looked into it, it's like, how many days is it? 3 days? Is that right?
It is. The majority of our events happen on Saturday. So we actually have 18 events happening Saturday, but we have some stuff on Thursday and Sunday too. So Thursday night, this has sort of become the, I want to say unofficial kickoff to Pumpkinfest, but we have what we call a pumpkin roll. We take 200 pumpkins. People can purchase tickets. They get a number assigned to them. We roll those pumpkins down the biggest hill in town, and the top three will get some cash prizes. So that's always awesome. A kind of a good way to kick things off. As I mentioned, Saturday, ton of events throughout the day. Looking forward to kind of chatting with you more about those. And then Sunday, it closes up in the morning. The Rotary organizes a pancake breakfast, and one of our local country clubs also organizes a four-person best shot. So it's really a 3-day event.
So I want to ask all about all the events that you guys are doing, but the first thing I need to ask is why pumpkins? How did this whole thing, what's the background of Pumpkinfest? Why did the people of Anamosa suddenly decide hey, we're all about the pumpkin here? What's that story?
Absolutely. So our original organizers, Greg and Nancy Norlin, had actually done this to honor their son, Ryan. That's the Ryan Norlin giant pumpkin weighoff. He had died in a tragic boating accident. They had started to kind of put this together, but decided to keep it going in his name. And it's really grown over the years. So when this originally started, it was just the weighoff. The actual celebration across town started the following year.
Got it. So that was going to be a question, is what's the significance with Ryan Norlin? And so the whole Pumpkinfest started out as just the weighoff in his honor, correct?
Absolutely.
And then it evolved into something way, way bigger over the years. When was this founded then?
So 1989 would have been the first year of the weighoff, and then the actual town festival started in conjunction with that the following year.
So what's obviously I want to talk about the event, but let's talk about the weighoff first then. Why? Tell me a little bit about the connection with Ryan and the weighoff. Was he obviously he was very young when he passed? Was there a connection to pumpkins? Like, what's the connection there?
Yeah, basically what his father, Greg, has told me is that pumpkins was something that Ryan really loved, that he would grow them with his uncle. So I think that was the connection. They wanted to find something as a way to honor and remember Ryan by also doing something that he loved to do.
Yeah, I mean, it turned into something huge. Obviously before this show, I was researching it and I was like, my word, this is a big deal. There's a lot going on. So I do have to ask, what is you weigh pumpkins, right? And then there's like an award for doing that. What's the reward and what's the record so far? Is there a record?
There are absolutely. There's a ton of awards. There's a lot of different categories. The overall prize money that the weighoff gives out is just a little bit over $20,000. So, but there are several awards going all the way from giant pumpkins, going all the way down to field pumpkins. We also have awards for watermelons and gourds. And we have had, records throughout the past. We actually had a state record-setting pumpkin last year that weighed 2,424 pounds, which is grown over the years. I know I talked with Greg and Nancy the other day. I believe they told me that inaugural year it was somewhere around 240 pounds was the winner. So it's grown basically tenfold over the last 34 years.
Okay, so 2,424 pounds. I got to ask, how'd they get it there?
They haul these things in on a truck. And it's always interesting. So they'll be at the community center. So there's a lot of stuff that folks can come and see and check those out. I think one of my favorites is the top 3 heaviest pumpkins we actually put on a big truck that Maquoketa Valley Electric Cooperative owns. And then we'll actually have those throughout the parade. There'll actually be a contingent in the parade. So I think folks always get a kick out of that. It's one thing, I think, to see them indoors, but it's also one thing to see the 3 biggest ones on a large truck driving down Main Street later in the day. Right.
So there's a lot going on. That is actually really funny. I was like 2,400. Just like, even if I had like big equipment and like a forklift, I don't even know how I'd lift something like that without breaking it. So that's actually really interesting. So it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and that's one of... Oh, sorry. I was going to say that's one of the risks that the Norlins always talk about. I think, every year we hear horror stories about somebody who's got a giant pumpkin and then it, falls off the vine the week before. So it can be a challenge moving those big ones.
It's so funny. I mean, there's got to be a whole science into how these things are grown, how they're managed, how they're protected. I mean, it's just crazy. You see some of the big pumpkins at the fair, but I don't know. Do you hold a record over the fairgrounds then? Do you know that?
So we have the state record for largest pumpkin from Iowa. So I'm not entirely sure if they get, we get a lot of entries from different states. The pumpkin we had was a 2,401 from Piasta. I'm not entirely sure if there's been bigger ones than that at the state fair.
I mean, if you hold the record for Iowa, though, that would have to count, right? Don't you beat the fair then if you hold the record for Iowa?
I would think so. Yeah, like I'm saying, I don't know if there's people from other states that come to the state fair and have beaten that. But
sure.
Ours is the biggest one for a state-grown pumpkin happening in an event in Iowa.
Well, maybe we need to have a pumpkin cage match. Maybe you can have that next year, and you can invite the Iowa State.
I would welcome the challenge.
You can welcome the Iowa State Fair people, pumpkin cage match, and if they have a problem with you setting the record, they can take it up with you in the cage. So there's a lot going on. Okay. Like I said, they're pumpkin toss, pumpkin carvings, smoking pumpkins, escape rooms, dunk tank, car smash, tons of stuff. But I want to start here, which is, this sounds absolutely fascinating, and it's actually a concept I think I saw on Shark Tank, but it's called the Boomerang Equipment Rodeo. What is this?
Absolutely. So Boomerang is one of the biggest employers in town. They're also one of our platinum sponsors for Pumpkinfest.
Uh-huh.
So basically, we'll have them in one of the city lots. They're going to bring some of their construction equipment. And they actually do some prizes as well based on things like speed and accuracy. So this can be a good opportunity for somebody that's maybe done it or maybe is an expert on it to get behind get behind the scenes of some of that machinery. Supervised, absolutely, but is a good opportunity for folks to kind of see get a little taste of what construction's all about.
No, okay. So what are they actually doing though? Are they moving? Because you say speed and accuracy. So are they?
Yeah, sorry about that. So they're actually moving pumpkins.
Are they demolishing buildings or are they moving pumpkins?
Nothing that exciting. It'll be things like moving pumpkins. So I think it's still can be a good kick for some folks getting a chance to use some of the cranes and things like that, pick up a pumpkin and move it from one end of the lot to the other.
So it's like an agility course for a backhoe kind of a thing.
Yeah, it might be a good way to describe it.
Yeah, I'm a communications professional, if you can't tell. So they have to pick up a pumpkin I'm assuming they have to pick up the pumpkin with this backhoe or big equipment, and they have to move it without breaking it. Is that like all kind of like an egg, like one of the egg races, but with a backhoe or big machine equipment? Is this am I giving a good picture here?
I think you're starting to get a sense of it. And I'll hop this in here, a little plug for the viewers, but if you go to anamosapumpkinfest.com and click on the logo for the equipment rodeo, there's actually a really cool graphic on there of a loader picking up a pumpkin that Boomerang has put together for us.
That's super cool. Okay, so that's interesting. I was seeing like a concept in Shark Tank where this guy, I don't remember what city it was, but he was essentially, for a fee, you could but you could use all this big equipment and move dirt around, and people were like paying lots of money to do this. So you're definitely tapping into this trend, because I think there are a lot of people that want to use
Definitely something you're not able to do every day.
Right. Yeah. There are a lot of people who want to use this big equipment. And like you said, this is not a thing that you're allowed to do. Sadly, the Iowa DOT does not let you just go jump on their tractors and stuff on the highway. And I've never tried, but I'm pretty sure it's illegal. So it's not illegal at Pumpkinfest. So I want to know what's up with the pumpkin toss. What is this? Is this, are they using catapults of some type, or are you just like literally straight up tossing these things? What's that like?
Yeah, so it's geared towards kids 12 and younger. So it really is, people just tossing the pumpkins so you can see who can throw the farthest. So it's kind of a free event typically that folks 12 and younger can have. We'll have it in one of the law office parking lots in town. So it's a little controlled environment, but it is a lot of fun. And we actually, I mentioned a little earlier about the pumpkin roll. We'll actually, the surviving pumpkins from that will actually take into the pumpkin toss.
Because you have 18 events in total. And the other one I wanted to ask about is smoking pumpkins. Is this basically a barbecue cook-off kind of thing?
It is. I believe this is the second year that this has happened. So it's a barbecue contest in town. It basically is, it's unfortunately not an opportunity for folks to come and taste the barbecue. That's just something that, the judges are able to do, but it is still kind of a cool event to come and check out. It's been growing every year. I think last I heard we had 16 barbecue pitmasters signed up so far. So it's definitely something I hope we can continue to grow every year.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so there's an escape room, dunk tank, car smash. I'm assuming those are kind of self-explanatory, but do you make an escape room, or is it partnered with a nearby escape room? Is it pumpkin themed?
So it's actually partnered between the Parks and Rec, who run the community center, and the Anamosa Library and Learning Center. So the library actually comes down and uses some of the rooms at the community center and builds out the escape room. It's not like one that's year round. They'll put it together just for Pumpkin Fest. Got
it. And what's new this year? Like, what are the new things you've added for people that have already been there?
Yeah, so we have a few new things. Like you mentioned, the dunk tank. That'll be the first year that we've had that. The State Historical Society, they have a mobile history museum that they've been working to try to bring to every county. And so for the first time ever, they'll actually be bringing it here at Pumpkin Fest. So that'll be set up at the library on Saturday. And we also have an art community organization called Arts Court. They are putting together what they call the Temple of Doom. That'll be a haunted house at night. So those are really the three completely new additions to this year.
So where do all these pumpkins come from? Because it's not like, do people have to bring their own? Are you partnered with a local grower? Where do they all come from? How many are brought in? I'm curious if you have all the data on that.
I don't have a lot of that data in front of me, unfortunately. As far as like the pumpkins we use for like the pumpkin roll and pumpkin toss, we purchase those from a local grower who lives just outside of town. As far as the giant pumpkins that come in, generally we'll see pumpkins from all of the border states. And there is, quite a few amount. I don't have a list in front of me of what the signups look like this year, but it's definitely, I'll say for folks that are going to be there on Saturday, the community center, as always, will be full of giant pumpkins.
So funny. Okay. Do you also have to, this is the other big question everybody wants to know, Blair, is, are you part of the cleanup crew? Is this something you have to do by yourself, or do you have a crew for that?
Thankfully, we've got a great committee and a great volunteer base here in Anamosa that's very helpful, and I'm very lucky to have them. So we have a group that's been, we started back in November, meeting monthly. That first kind of meeting last year is more of a debrief of 2022, but we've been meeting monthly. And then once we got into September, we started meeting weekly. So we've got a lot of volunteers that are putting these events together. We've got a volunteer crew that puts together a kids zone. And thankfully, we have a lot of volunteers that are helping with the cleanup, not only at the end of the day, but throughout the day as well. I want to make sure things are nice and clean for community members.
So I want to talk a little bit about, I know that you, as a community, Anamosa, were working on a facade project. What's the status of that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm not completely honest on that one, to be honest. That's something that economic development has kind of handled the most part of it. We have one side of the street that did get done last year, and that's been nice to see. Like, these buildings are looking good. We've been able to start filling some of these empty streets downtown. The other side of the street is slated to start in 2024. I think the exact date and time on that is a little bit up in the air, though.
Sure. And now you're saying that it is attracting retailers back into these spaces?
I would say so. I'm actually the Chamber of Commerce. We're actually in one of the spaces that got redone, and that's looking great. I'm excited to be here. And
what's the history of that space? Because I think it probably, Anamosa, I think you have a town about 5,000, 6,000 people, correct?
Yep.
And so for those that don't know, what's the history of those spaces that you're in right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. We have multiple buildings on Main Street that have been here since the 1880s. The one that I'm in, I have not actually heard for sure how old this building is. It's been a number of different things has been in here the last 20 years or so, from an ice cream shop to a pizza ranch to a vendor village. But yeah, there are definitely some old buildings here in the community, and that's one thing I'm excited about. I'm also from a very small community, and I would say growing up, that unfortunately was a community that, tore down a lot of our old buildings rather than redoing them. And thankfully, Anamosa has been the opposite of that we've, been able to keep some of this history and charm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm going off memory, so this might be an embarrassing moment for me, Blair. Is
no problem.
Is Grant Wood from Anamosa, or at least the nearby area?
The nearby area. So he is technically Stone City, which is about five miles away.
God, do you get a lot of Grant Wood tourism then? For those that don't know, Grant Wood, of course, famous Iowa artist.
Yeah, we definitely do get some tourism from that. So we've got the Grant Wood Art Gallery is actually just across the street from me. So that's open throughout the week. Folks can come and check those out. We've got some murals around town. For a while, we did have 2 giant Grant Wood statues. Those unfortunately aren't here anymore. And then one of our newer additions in town, Porfirio's Mexican Restaurant, actually put up some Grant Wood inspired murals for kind of the Day of the Dead. So those are actually looking pretty cool as well. But there is definitely some good theming with Grant Wood around here.
And you said the museum's right across the street from you? I didn't know that.
Yep.
And how many, so I'm assuming, is it all original Grant Wood works in the museum then?
That is a great question. I'm not 100% on that one, to be honest.
I didn't actually know that. I knew he was from around that area, but I didn't know you had a museum right there in downtown. That's actually kind of fascinating. So I did I want to run some pumpkin trivia with you really quick, if you don't mind, Blair.
All right.
We'll test your pumpkin knowledge, and if you completely fail, that's okay.
Thanks.
So
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries. We'll still send people. We still want people to check out Pumpkinfest, obviously, and head to Anamosa. It does sound like a lot of fun, and I hope people check out the website because there's, like I said earlier, there's a ton of stuff. We didn't even talk about the country club hosting the 4-person best shot, car smash, all sorts of stuff. But right now, it's time for pumpkin trivia. What started the popularity? So, okay, we gotta get ready for this. But pumpkin trivia, there are no prizes. If you want prizes, you have to head to the Pumpkinfest. But first question is, what started the popularity of pumpkins? And have they always been associated with fall?
That is a great question. I mean, I'm gonna assume maybe they've been associated with fall just because that growing season is generally like late spring, early summer, pick in the fall. I mean, I'm gonna guess Halloween, but I have no clue on that one, to be honest.
All right, and here's the next question. I'll just and we're gonna add in the buzzing and all that stuff. No, I'm just kidding. We're totally not going to do that.
That'll be great.
People can look this up. Next question is, what is the worst? This is kind of something you get actually. How many species of pumpkins? So that's the next question is, how many species of pumpkins are there?
Ooh, I'm assuming there's a ton. I'm just gonna say 40.
Yeah, so I guess it's disputed, but there are at least 150 or more.
Okay.
And before I let you go, 2 questions for you and the Pumpkinfest expertise that you have is, what is the worst pumpkin food you have ever tasted? And of course, if it's someone that's like a chamber member or something, you can not use that one.
I mean, I don't know if I've ever tasted a pumpkin that wasn't good.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll let it go. We'll let that slide. During Pumpkinfest, what is the most unexpected use for pumpkins you have seen? Or it could be outside of Pumpkinfest.
Ooh, unexpected use? I'm just looking through our events here really quick. Yeah, I don't know if there's an unexpected use. This will be another new thing, though. We have a 5K run in the morning, so traditionally you go to a run and you might get medals if you place a certain spot high enough in your age category. This year, for the first time, we're actually going to be giving out pumpkins.
Oh, instead of medals, or with?
There'll be like a pumpkin with a medal included with it. So it'll be a kind of an interesting touch, something you don't necessarily see every day. Go to a 5K race and come home with a pumpkin.
All right, so Blair Lawton, Executive Director of the Anamosa Chamber of Commerce. We're talking about Pumpkinfest. Blair, before I let you go, tell everybody when it is and what the website is so people can register and come check it out.
Absolutely. So it's this Thursday through Sunday. The big day is Saturday, October 7th. The majority of our events are right here in downtown Anamosa. I encourage people to check out the website. It's anamosapumpkinfest.com. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/AnamosaPfest.
Awesome. Blair Lawton, Executive Director of the Anamosa Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for coming on the Iowa podcast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Justin.
And to my fellow Iowans, Iowa expats, and Iowans at heart, thanks for listening and subscribing to the Iowa podcast.